And today I want to share with you my favorite place on the earth. This place is absolutely amazing. It's in the Saratov region. I was born in Saratov. It's the city, that side, that direction, on the Volga River. And you know, in Russia we have the big territory, and not all of it is inhabited by people, and it's not all crowded with cities, but some of the territory of Russia is completely wild. And this piece of land, in my opinion, it's just a heaven. I will show you. You see, it's the hills, absolutely divine hills. That side we see the village. I showed you the village several times. It's the Volga Germans' place, Schilling or Sosnovka, and all around are hills, you see. Now it's 20 minutes past 7 p.m. So the sun is going down. Maybe in an hour it will be sunset, and the hills, you see, no people, no cars, no buildings, no noise. It's like divine place or the heaven. I guess you can hear the birds singing. And you see the Volga River, it's so wide, but you should know that the wideness of the Volga River, it's not natural. Actually, it's artificial. You see the island, one island, so it's the edge of the island, and then it goes there. Then there is a gap, and the other island. That piece of land, I mean island, is the old place where the left bank of the Volga River used to go. But now, you see, that bank is 9 or 10 kilometers from here. And Saratov, I mean the city Saratov, the nearest city and the center of the Saratov region, Saratov is over there. It's 45 kilometers from here if we go on boat. But if we go by car, it's maybe it's 65 kilometers to Saratov. Why I'm here? Actually, for me, it's as I said, it's the most favorite place in the earth, and I asked my children to bury me sometime here. I mean, to let me fly over the hills here. Actually, this place It's on the way from the village, from the Shiling or Sosnovka village to the place we call the that that kind of place dacha. Dacha means the summer cottage or summer house for Soviet citizens. And from that time, I mean from the Soviet times, we still have the same concept of summer houses, cottages, and we call them dacha. Dacha is a single noun and dachas plural. So many people in Russia still they have dachas, and my parents they have their dacha, and the dacha we have it's from my childhood, so from the 90s of the 20th century, and it's located on the left side of the village. I mean the village Shiling or Sosnovka, then 2 kilometers on the left, our dacha, and over there, there is one more, let's say, village of dachas. So it's the place where there are many dachas, and the hills are in between. That's why sometimes we can meet here cows or sheep, but no men. Maybe sometime you can meet fishermen. They like to go fishing on the Volga River, but right now in June it's prohibited to go fishing. That's why we see no boats on the river. Right there we see just one barge. It's broken. That's why it is standing there. And you see the islands, the old bank, and behind islands, there were meadows to grow vegetables and to grow rye, the rye or other agricultural stuff. If we go down along the Volga River, that side, we will come to Volgograd. Volgograd actually is the next region after Saratov region, and our district, I mean the district I'm now standing in, it's down along the Volga River from Saratov, and it's the last district in Saratov region, and just next district is the Volgograd region. I don't know the name of any district in Volgograd, but the next big city over there is Volgograd. But probably you know Volgograd in different name as Stalingrad, because during Soviet Union time and during the Second World War, Volgograd was called Stalingrad. As you know that St. Petersburg, it was called Leningrad. The noun grad means the old name for the city, or now we call the city Gorod, and in the old language, Russian language, we call the city as Grad. And that's why we have some beginning of the world, I mean the name of the city. Volgo means Volga, Volga River, and then Grad. So the city stands on the Volga River. That's why this name Volgograd. Leningrad means that Lenin, the leader of the young Soviet Union state, Lenin, and then Grad as the Leningrad, or Stalingrad. It's the same. Stalin, all of us know this name, Stalingrad. And you know that during the Second World War, Stalingrad was the crucial place where the famous battle, Stalingrad battle, took place. And that's why for millions people all over the world, Volgograd is mainly known as Stalingrad. I've been once in Volgograd and still their big statue, the big statue standing on the national park of the Second World War, devoted to the Second World War. It's a big statue, it's just huge. And the mother native country, the motherhood, she keeps, I forgot what she keeps in her hand, but I mean the territory of the national park there devoted to the Second World War, it's still called the Stalingrad place because of their Stalingrad battle. What I want to show you also the hills, the Volga River, the direction of Saratov and Volgograd, the wideness of the Volga. I said that it's so wide, 10 or even that just in 1 kilometer there, it's 11 kilometers. I want to show you Marmot. It's the place, the hole where Marmot lives. And right now he is afraid of me. And each marmot stands near its hole, and you see the stones in prairies. By the way, this kind of land, or this kind not of climate, but this kind of nature, we call it steppe. Steppe, it's the place without trees, and we don't even have too much bushes. And the grass, it's usually dry. You see Marmot, he's over there. This is him, the Marmot, but I don't know why he's lying on the stones and he is not standing. Usually they are stand like this. Tuk, would stand, and they are like the guardians, mammoths guardians. And when you go by car actually it's my mom's car, and I took her car to come here and show you this beautiful place, to share with you this nature. But unfortunately, YouTube again, it locks my streams from you. I don't know why. Just for your information, I have one more channel. This is the channel as Russian girl in English, and I'm keeping doing it in English, but there are some obstacles from YouTube for me. I don't know why, at least in streams. So it locks the streams, and I'm just talking to camera, and I see that there is no one of you on that side of the camera. For me, it's disappointing a little bit, because I don't feel the feedback from you, and I don't feel the energy from viewers. Actually, on my main YouTube channel in Russian, which I started earlier than this English one, I have some base of subscribers, but you know, when I stream over there, I have several thousands big plane. And I guess that this plane is going to the other side of the Volga River, to the city called Engels. Engels, you know, he is a philosopher and the economist. Friedrich Engels, he is German. We all know him because of his main work, The Capital. And actually the communists and Lenin and other activists of the young Soviet state, they based their philosophy on Engels' works and concept. So we have the city called Engels, and it's located on the opposite side of the Volga River, on the opposite side of Saratov. Just you cross the bridge. The bridge goes for 3 kilometers or even more, 3 kilometers and 500 meters, something like this. And you appear in Engels. And we even have the city called Marx. You know Marx? He's another guy, a friend of Engels. Oh, sorry, I mixed all them. Sorry. Marx, the capital, it's the main guy, but in terms of Saratov region's places, Engels is the city bigger than Marx. Marx is, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 kilometers from Saratov, and Marx is smaller than Engels. And obviously, I'm just maybe confused you and myself with my speech that Engels is the author of The Capital. Obviously, it's Karl Marx who is the main guy, but Engels was his friend and his comrade. And when Marx died, Engels published his works, and he kept the heritage made by Marx. So why I did keep it up? I mean, my speech, Engels, Marx, I don't know why the places, the cities were called for them, I mean, with their names, but maybe it's somehow also connected with the Volga Germans who used to live in Saratov region and along the Volga River. Why we call them Volga Germans? As one of our female Tsar, Tsaritsa, we call her Tsaritsa, or or maybe she's the imperator female. She, Ekaterina the Great, Ekaterina the Great, or Ekaterina the Second. She was German, and in the late 18th century, she invited Germans, Hollands, even some people from Switzerland, but mainly Germans, to inhabit these lands. One day or one time she got to know with the places like this, I mean in steppe, and probably she was moving to some far away lands of Russia at that time, and she looked at the lands and saw that they are so beautiful and so rich and so prospective, but they were not inhabited first, and maybe a little bit inhabited, but she thought that it would be cool to place people who know who are artisans, who are farmers, who are builders, and who can work hard and who can create a kind of a new economy. And that's why she invited Germans to inhabit the lands along the Volga River. That's why we call them the Volga Germans. And luckily, the plan of the Ekaterina the Great or Ekaterina the Second, it was successful, and all those and all those people, they didn't just inhabit the places and created the colony, but they created new kind of living. They produced bricks, they produced textile, they had meals and gardens, and they worked hard. And they lived separately. If you have something in common, I mean, if you have something in mind with the Volga Germans, and if you are interested in this topic, I highly recommend you to read the novel called My Children, or The Children of Mine, by the modern female writer, I mean Russian writer, actually she is Tatar writer, and Güzel Yakhina, her name, and she wrote a novel about the Volga Germans at the beginning of the 20th century. And actually that book is very interesting, and it gives some information of how the colonies of the Volga Germans used to live. And you know, once last year I made a video about, let's say, the Volga Germans in my Russian YouTube channel, and it was so it got so popular that it got, for me, that video is the champion in terms of shows and in terms of involvement. And actually so many people wrote to me and they said that what's a pity that the Volga Germans don't live here and don't work, and there is no heritage of that time, as they created a lot. And in many places, not just in this village Shilling or Sosnovka, in many places in Saratov region, in Samara region, in Volgograd region, in Astrakhan region, in Ulyanovsk, and many others, the Volga Germans, they built a lot of buildings, still exist, but they are abandoned mainly, or they are used in different purpose, or sometimes their churches, their kircha churches, Lutheran religion, they all are broken or disappeared. And it's a pity. And for people who live here, most people, they feel sorry for that. Actually, when the Volga Germans went away, they had to, actually it was not their will to go outside of Russia, but when the Second World War began, they were taken by the government and they were moved to mainly Kazakhstan. Most of them. Some of them, they still live within Russians or in villages, like in Shilling or in Sosnovka village, there is a small grocery shop, and my father just yesterday said that that grocery shop, the lady, the Volga German lady, owns it, but she wants to close it as it's not successful in terms of margin and in terms of any income. That's why she's going to close it. So still some people, they live here, but just some single people. When I was the teenager in the 90s, in Engels, there was the place, the center for immigrants who wanted to immigrate to Germany, as their nation was and is still German, and that's why they helped to move Germans back to Germany. That's why in 90s many people immigrate from here. But in 1941, most Germans from the villages like Sosnovka or Schilling were taken just within one day, within one night. They were taken and sent to Kazakhstan. Later on, some of them, the next generations, they also immigrated uh, to to Germany from Kazakhstan. But I talked to one guy, the shepherd from Sosnovka, the shepherd, and he's not that old to remember that time, but he told me that he had talked to the old guy from Sosnovka, and I mean that local guy or local man, he told the shepherd that it was a sad moment, as all their cows, all the dogs, cats, and other domestic animals were left alone in the village, and all of them were crying and made a lot of noise because they lost their owners. Later on, it was, as far as I know, it happened in September 1941. So the war, I mean the Second World War, it began in June of 1941, but the Volga Germans, at least from Sosnovka, they were taken in September 1941. And from where I know, I read the article. It's very interesting. It's just unbelievably interesting article. I may leave the link for you if you are interested. Please write down if you are interested to read it also. It's in Russian, but you know that most services, I mean Google, you can just easily translate the article from Russian into your native language, and also read about how the Volga Germans used to live in these places. And probably the last thing I want to to share with you about the Volga Germans is that Sosnovka or Schilling is a traditional Volga Germans place. And next village, it's called, next village is over there. It's over there. We can even see the hill of next village. It's called Mordova. And Mordova was, and right now, and that time, Mordova was the Russian village. And I read at that article, that the fishermen from the fishermen Volga Germans and the fishermen, again, the plane. The Volga Germans fishermen and the Russian fishermen, they were fighting to get more fish. So they were arguing about the territory of the Volga. At that time, Volga was not that wide, it was narrow, and right now we call the main stream of Volga as the root stream, and that side we call it just wide Volga. It's not deep. It's not deep at all. Probably it's 1 meter or 2 meters, several meters, and sometimes even by boat you cannot come easily from that side. But here on the route, the Mother Volga, there are big boats or big ships, barges, but not now. Unfortunately, I cannot share, I cannot show you any of them. By the way, I have a big tube with me, you see? A big tube, and usually I watch the names of the ship. By the way, I see the opposite bank right now. I see the opposite bank. So the tube is to watch and to know the names of boats. The names of boats in Russia, I mean the tourists' boats, they are called for famous people like composers or writers or some other guys. And you see, I have also with me the flowers, beautiful flowers. And it's a pity that I cannot share with you the flavor. It's so delicious, sweet, as Ekaterina the Great or Ekaterina the Second said 300 years ago, that it's sweet steppe. And my favorite grass is the theme. And each year, my family and me, we collect a big amount of the theme. We call it chibrets, or there is another name of the grass. The theme, we also call it in Russian the theme, chibrets, and the Holy Mother or the Holy Virgin grass. It's the herb. It's the herb, and I like the flavor. And during the whole year, each time I drink tea at home, I drink it with the theme. For you, just for you, all this grass. So again, YouTube gave me no chance to share with you this beautiful nature or my stream, but I will keep it up. Please put your like or give me a like and leave some comment if you like my videos. The birds are saying you bye-bye. See you next time. Thank you for watching. Big hello from Russia and from the Volga River.